I'll be in touch.
Right, kunnen we het allemaal horen aan die kant?
Yep.
Ja hoor.
Yep.
De vraag is alleen of jullie goed zullen horen, merk ik al. Zitten we allemaal dicht bij een microfoon?
Jullie echo een beetje.
Dat gaat wel mooi, hè?
Ja, maar. En die versteven is professioneel hoor.
We zijn professionele Google Hangout meeting makers.
Duidelijk, duidelijk.
Eigenlijk zitten we nu op de tijd dat wij volgens mij een bedrijfsmeeting hebben normaal gesproken nu, toch?
Dat klopt.
Well, in the words, I think.
Die is nu over precies 30 minuten.
Oké.
Dus dan ga ik er weer vandoor.
Oké, we moeten nog beginnen.
Dat is goed.
Okay, so welcome at Society and Nine Connections. That is Timon, co-founder of Society. My name is Michel. I'm co-founder of Connections to Startups. We're also the creators of the this week in Amsterdam. And this is just one event that we wanted to do, and we're happy that it worked out. So we have 3 startups online in a hangout. From 3 locations at the moment, from San Francisco, New York, and I think Renato is in Amsterdam. All 3 of them are typical startups doing it abroad. Erwin here was so kind to ask them the difficult questions, and so I give the floor to Erwin, and maybe you can introduce the guys.
Or even better, I think even better they can introduce themselves. The thing is, I've got a list of questions because I'm a stand-in. Someone else was supposed to be here, so it's a really easy job. I only have to read out what's on this list. It's in Dutch though, but maybe guys you can introduce yourself, who you are, and what you are doing. Misha, maybe you can start.
Sure. My name is Misha Hernandez van Leuven. I am the co-founder and CEO of Worker, and we're building a collaborative continuous delivery platform for developers.
Guys, do you have headphones, ears in, stuff like that? Good, because otherwise we'll have problem with the echoes. And I think you recently moved to the United States, if I'm informed, correct?
You are not informed correctly.
Oh.
I'm just here for meetings and getting feedback on the product. We have not moved over here.
Okay.
Still, the rest of the team is in Amsterdam.
Okay. And the other one is in Amsterdam as well. So Renato, what are you doing abroad?
So I'm Renato Valdez. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Human. We're currently in stealth mode. We're a San Francisco-based company, but the founders come from Amsterdam. Before this, I did CartCloud back here in Amsterdam, actually, and we're here for the upcoming few weeks to work a little bit on products, and we'll fly back beginnings of March.
Yeah. Steven.
Hey, I'm Steven, co-founder of Karma, a simple and honest mobile provider based in New York. Karma has a 4G mobile hotspot, which is this little tiny guy, and this gives you a Wi-Fi connection on the go.
Yeah. So what we will do is we will not go too much into your companies, but we will talk more about the differences in startup culture, America, Netherlands, etc. So from what you have seen, all of you so far, what are important differences between startup culture in the United States and in Holland, for example? Whoever.
Ren, go ahead.
I think there's not much difference in terms of people wanting to build stuff. I think the pace is the most important thing, and the way the whole infrastructure is set up. So I can only speak about myself and about ourselves here. We're in the process of moving to San Francisco, which is the primary point for the whole world, basically, to work on technology. So it's more a standard that people work on technology than they don't. So everybody is actually in technology, which makes the infrastructure vast and broad, and you meet insane amounts of people that have a very high work ethic, work standard. So I think the biggest difference is really the pace at which things move in the US.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like,
Last week, and
definitely
then you mentioned
the energy and the pace
some
is
examples.
more active than in Netherlands. I think also not only the investors are more interested in a bigger vision, usually the entrepreneurs themselves as well. How can your company become, $1 billion market? That's usually what the entrepreneurs go after.
Yeah, and I would like to add to the point that making introductions and building your network is incredibly easy here. When you meet with one founder or one investor, you have 2, 3, maybe even 5 follow-up meetings the next day, and this is something that only happens here in the US.
And is there a difference, because you are based in New York, and Renato, you said we're based in San Francisco. Is there a difference within America?
I think so, yeah. And I think Steven can confirm this as well. I think in New York, the great part about New York is that there's so many different markets and scenes combined over there, which is kind of like Amsterdam, but at a much faster pace and much larger scale. And San Francisco, there's really just one thing that they do over there, and that's tech. So everybody, when you go on the Muni on public transport, everybody is talking about the next app or the next website and things like that. So taking Dutch soberness back to San Francisco is one of the things that we're good at right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was going to talk?
Well, I think Renato is right, and the biggest difference between San Francisco and New York has a much smaller startup community. So meeting the guys from Foursquare, the guys from GroupMe, this is all done in just a few hours, I would say. New York is much more similar to Amsterdam. If you look at the number of startups compared to San Francisco, which is all startups everywhere.
Yeah. Hey, Steven, you were part of the initiative. I think it was called Techstars, if I remember right. Misha, you were part of Rockstart in the Netherlands, another program to help startups move faster or get their idea better or find investments, etc. How have those initiatives helped you, Misha, for example?
Sure. I guess that initially, that kind of program helps you move faster. You get a little bit of seed money to get things going, get some initial introductions, get some feedback on the product. That's all very helpful. I am not sure, if the accelerator programs is the thing that we might need in Amsterdam. I think it's helpful, but I'd rather see a richer ecosystem, as is apparent now in San Francisco, where more the entrepreneurs help each other, and the creation of certain startup hubs and co-working spaces. I think that could be a more interesting angle in terms of knowledge sharing and infrastructure.
Yeah. Steven, how did it help you?
Well, Techstars has been amazing for us. We raised close to 1.2 million, mostly thanks to Techstars. Again, the network is huge here in New York. So being part of an accelerator, at least the Techstars accelerator, it's been a great experience. I agree with Misha that I'm not sure if Amsterdam needs another accelerator or incubator or program. I think it needs a really, really good program that can help investors and startups bridge the gap to find their first seed of funding.
Yesterday evening, I spoke to, I think, 14 Dutch startups in 3 hours. And I think the global thing there was that there was a lot of criticism towards the investors in the Netherlands when you compare that to America. What can you say about that?
I can only agree. In the US, making use of a convertible note is the way to go. Making sure that the founders can stay in control of the company. You don't have to give away a lot of stock right away. And this is something investors never ask your business plan. You don't have to do a 5-year forecast, something that Dutch investors are more than happy to ask. And I would avoid every investor that asks you for a business plan when your startup is at day one.
Why? What's wrong with the business plan?
Well,
everything. You have no idea what you're about to enter. So, and Renato, you can chip in there as well. When you start your startup, why do you need a business plan?
I mean, things change from month to month, and good investors who have founded companies before, prior to them starting to invest, know about this. You have to be agile. You have to, adapt to the market, adapt to your users very fast. So writing a business plan for 1 to 3 years is complete and utter bullshit. In terms of seeking investments in the US, I mean, of course, there are many more investors, and of course, they're much more proficient at investing in technology companies, specifically at high risk, early stage level. The only thing is that the idea that I get from most Dutchies that want to go to San Francisco is that they think, okay, it's, I just plan a week over there and I'll get my investment very easily. So the problem with coming here is that you're actually, pitching against 300 companies instead of 3 companies, which means that you need to have your story straight and you need to really have like a really good idea and great team before you get invested. If you have a shitty idea and a shitty team, you won't get funded in the US either. So that's the thing you start off with. Whether you're based in Amsterdam or based in San Francisco, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And there are a few great Dutch investment firms. We're all part of the same investment firm, Vitulum. So guys like Vitulum, they know exactly what to do and how to invest in startups. And like Renato mentioned, it took us almost 9 months to raise our seed round. I know the other guys have been working on their rounds as well. It's not that easy. You need to work very hard and meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
I agree. Like it's getting better in the Netherlands. Like Steven said, Vitulum Ventures, we're all part of that small firm as well. Over time, I think Dutch investors will grow accustomed to, like for instance, a convertible note and how things are done in the US, but it will take some time.
Do you guys have a question for that?
I do. How did to the person who was in the Netherlands accelerator program? Forgot his name.
Misha, Rockstar.
Rice.
Yeah.
How did attending a Netherlands-based accelerator help you in the US? Did you make any great connections there to the US? Did it help you get follow-up funding in the US? I don't know how exactly you're acting in the US market, but yeah, bit of because it's a bit of a jump.
So I'm not.
Okay.
Erwin, can you summarize the question for us?
Yeah. In what way did being part of a Rockstart help in say getting connections, getting further abroad? Did it help you in America?
But again, I'm unsure about the question. Does that mean by name, the Rockstart name, or actual introductions? I mean, the name has been not that helpful because nobody knows Rockstart in the US.
Yeah, no, of course, the people.
But obviously there some guys within the Rockstart mentor program are very well connected in the US. Renato was one of the mentors and has helped us out as well in terms of connections and introductions. So, but that is the case in any if you what you like to call it, accelerator program, or just dealing with people. People know people. That's always a good thing.
Yeah. So, but Stephen, you deliberately chose to do that in America. I think you were even asked to join the program. So that's was a luxury position. But if the people over here have a goal to raise money or make it big in America, what would you advise them? Start in America or start here?
I think it doesn't matter where you start. You can build your company from Amsterdam, from Groningen, from New York. We built Karma from Amsterdam and New York, so location isn't important for startups. If you want to start raising money, get in touch with us. Get in touch with founders who have a great connection in the US. And I would say accelerators are there to meet people, but if you want to raise money, you should get in touch with other founders and don't focus that heavily on being part of an accelerator program. You need to focus on your product.
Yeah. Hey, when you talk about culture, startup culture, in this case, very often the government is being mentioned, or rules, regulations, taxes, whatever it is. What do you or does the government have a role, and could they help a startup culture, or should the startups do it themselves?
Ren?
I'm very much against any form of government involvement, just because the people who are, writing up these laws, they have a lot of time to spend time on laws, which means that they're behind on whatever the startup's working on. They're years behind the technology, years behind the perception of the stuff that we're building. So I would not focus on getting any kind of government involvement in place. This is good for the arts, for music, for culture maybe, but as startups, we are building companies, we're building products that eventually have to make money, and I don't think that the government is the best partner in that. And by that I mean any type of government, not just the Netherlands, but also US government.
Questions here?
Yeah, I think having said that, though, I totally agree. But I think our government does have a role in making legislation a bit more lightweight in terms of structuring your company. Obviously, you can go with the route of just becoming a US-based company, but for instance, like stock option plans, those kind of structures are very uncommon in the Netherlands and are everything but lightweight. So chipping in on that front might make sense.
More questions from the...
Yeah, have you had any problems or challenges getting a visa to work in the US? Because I figure sometimes it's easier to go with an accelerator because they help you with that. And if you don't choose to go with an accelerator, you have to do it on your own, and it might be complicated.
Yeah. The question is about how difficult is it to get a working permit, to get a visa to work from America, and does it help in that case to be part of an accelerator program in the United States?
I think so, yeah. The accelerators usually have a couple of retainers with attorney firms, with lawyer firms, law firms basically, that help you, set up any type of visa that's corresponding to your company. That being said, to pick the right one and the right path for your company is all up to the entrepreneur. But I do believe that being part of an accelerator helps in that whole situation. We're not part of an accelerator. We're doing everything by ourselves right now. And to be honest, the whole visa process of moving your company and like a multinationality team to the US is quite troublesome. And from what I've heard from fellow founders and other companies is that accelerators do help in setting up the whole visa structure.
So what is necessary to get a visa? Because I remember I used to make music, and when we went to play in America, I had to have people over here and over there stating that we added something to the music that people were making in America. Mm-hmm. That was quite difficult, I have to admit, but in the end we succeeded. So what do you have to do Yeah, but do you have to prove, Stephen, for example, to get your visa?
I would say there are many options for a visa. One of the easiest visas is the L1 visa, where you simply transfer someone from the Amsterdam office to the US-based office. That does require a lot of structure and business entities to be set up front. So yeah, it's a lot of paperwork. You need to pay your immigration lawyer shitload of money, and then he'll get the job done. There's no easy way to get a visa. I also don't think that accelerators will actually help you get a visa. Again, you need to get in touch with people that have done it before, and you need to pay a big chunk of money to your immigration lawyer, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I would like to add to that.
Go ahead.
Given the fact that it's such a load of work to do, it shouldn't become a mission by itself to get that visa. You should focus on your products first, and then if push comes to shove and it's necessary to move to the US and get the visa, then start going down that route. But again, focus on the product.
Stephen, you were looking at your watch. Do you have to go?
Another 7 minutes. I'll be good.
Okay. Another question. You have another question for the guys over there. Yeah.
How is the access to talent different in the States compared to Amsterdam?
Yeah. How is the access to talent different in the States when you compare it to Amsterdam?
Yeah, great question. I'll jump in first, Ren. Ren already mentioned that if you're raising money, you're battling another 300 startups. If you're looking for talent, you're battling with Foursquare. You're battling with Facebook, Twitter, so you can imagine that the best guys want to work for the best companies. So just like raising money, a lot of interviews, a lot of meetings, and you need to persuade people into believing that you're the best and the coolest company to work for. There's a bunch of talent here, but I think most of our teams are most of our teams are Dutch, and so also no need to look further than Amsterdam or than the Netherlands for talent. Ren, might want to add something?
Yeah, I think when you're a startup and you're actually building your company over here, I think the benefit that we have is that we can actually bring along a bunch of talented Europeans or wherever they come from. The problem is if you really want to recruit there, like Stephen said, you're competing with some of the big names, Foursquare, Google, Apple, all of these companies. They have extremely high salaries, fantastic benefits that as a startup you just can't compete with, never. At least not until you're well funded. So in terms of that, the only thing you actually can do to make it compelling for recruitment and actually get some talented people in is build the best possible product there's out there and just build a kick-ass company. Make sure that your story is great, make sure that resonates with everybody, and that's the way you get people in. Yeah, that's it.
I have nothing to add to that.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe I have a question.
Yeah.
I imagine, based on what you've said, the difficulty in making the move over there and all of the obstacles there, plus the fact that it's very important to focus on the product and developing the product, that there might be very unique and special set of circumstances where it makes sense for you to do all of that extra effort and make that move. And so I'm curious what those special circumstances are. And if you don't fit into those special circumstances, the second part of the question is, how can you combine the best of both worlds and actually stay in Amsterdam and learn from the experiences and the possibilities of the U.S.?
Yeah. I'll try to summarize, and otherwise you help me again. The question was, there's a lot of hurdles to take when you want to start and move to America. There's of course, in your case, special reasons to do it, and so far it's okay.
Yeah, perfect.
So far I'm doing fine.
Where's the question, Aaron?
in your case, what were, maybe you can summarize that again, what were the most important ones to move? And is it possible to combine the best worlds, so combine Amsterdam with America, so that you can work here and, well, have a success there?
I think as an entrepreneur, what you want to do is focus on your product in the beginnings without giving up too much control. That's the main reason to move to the US. If you want to raise, say, $1 million in seed funding in the Netherlands, you'll be walking into some pretty heavy term sheets, which will cripple your company before you even reach Series A. Not a single investor will be interested in putting money into a pre-revenue company who's given up little below 50% already. Which means that you need to prepare for that. The only way to do that is by finding investors and entrepreneurs who are willing to put in money into your company at a reasonable price. So that's one. The second part, which is really hard in the Netherlands specifically, is that if you have this radical idea, most people will actually think that it's too radical. Most investors here will think that it's too radical as well, and they'll just say that you're crazy and move you over and invest in the next e-commerce startup that generates a bunch of hundreds of Ks in revenue each year. But these companies, they grow very slowly. They don't have the potential to become like the next Facebook, for example. If you have an idea that's so radical and you have the team to actually build that thing, then at least in our situation, it was the best to do that over there.
Stephen?
Not much to add. It's easy to combine Amsterdam and New York in terms of working together with your team. We use Hangout, we use HipChat. There's a lot of stuff you can do. In our case, we're building a mobile provider which only works in the US for now. So making sure that we can use our own product requires us to be in the US quite often. And that's also the main reason why we are moving the entire team to New York. If your startup, if your product isn't fixed on one location to be used, I don't see any issues in dividing your team. I think Misha, you guys are doing a great job running from both San Francisco and the Netherlands. So you might want to add something to this.
Yeah, sure. So for us, we're building a developer-oriented product. We believe that the most progressive developers and the newest technology comes from San Francisco, so it makes sense for us to be out here. As we're doing it right now, I'm the one going back and forth between Amsterdam and San Francisco. I think that is a good way to tackle things as well. Maybe not have a permanent residency here, but at least go back and forth every few months. I think about every 6 weeks to 2 months is reasonable, and that also means that you'll be in touch with the investors and the entrepreneurs and the community over here without them forgetting you. So that's also a way to do it.
Okay, guys, I think we have the half an hour. When I summarize it, I think when you move to America, when you're willing to give away a lot of your company, stay in Amsterdam. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Summarizing it well. Thanks a lot, guys. Enjoy.
Bye.
All right, thanks, guys. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
That was a good answer at the end, I think. They got right to the point, got to the chase.
All right, I hope that was interesting. I thought it was. Thanks, Erin, a lot for